I watched that that fucking Joe Biden video and that robot one.
Yeah.
Like, that
Yeah.
that Joe Biden one. Like, have you seen? Because there's another video of him with a girl. It's like they're all stood like facing like a crowd or something, and he like the way he's holding her,
Hand over the shoulder, sort
yeah,
of.
but it's really weird. Why would you even say that to someone?
Right.
So,
I'd never be. I'd
well,
never
let's
be.
explain the video first, because obviously some people won't have seen it. So explain the video.
Okay, so there's been a bit of a long-standing issue, and what I was about to say is I'd never be an advocate for Donald Trump, but this seems to be where he's actually given a quite accurate description of an opponent, because he dubbed him with the nickname Creepy Uncle Joe.
Yeah,
And as you said, there's been videos of him before, but so in this in this video, it's some sort of election event, and he's a 76-year-old man. He's recently spoken of his intent to run for the Democratic presidential election. So he's at this event, at this rally, and you kind of catch a tail end of this video, and it sounds like this girl's asked him a question, and he's not quite answered it fully, and he's saying, "Oh, give me your address, and I'll send you a full letter with all my points and all my answers to what I do about them things." And he's kind of leaning into her, and the body language is kind of comes off creepy anyway. But okay, you can kind of roll with that. But he's like leaning into her, then he says to her. Oh, well, it's actually on the video. The quote. It basically said to her, "Oh, I bet you're as smart as you are good looking." And this is a 10-year-old.
now that's bad. Like, isn't that bad? Like, that's bordering on.
You,
Well,
you can almost hear him grunting under his breath. "Oh, I bet you're as smart as you are good looking."
why would you even think to say that to a 10-year-old? Like, that's fucking ridiculous. Like, that's mental. What, like, for that to even cross your, and to think, but then everyone starts laughing as well about it. Everyone's like, oh, it's like, yeah, that's a weird thing to say to a 10-year-old.
I'm saying this to you, not our millions of viewers, so I promise you'll edit this bit out. But for once, I agree with Donald Trump.
Yeah. Yeah, well, he's not far off on that, but like you say, because it's not the first instance of that, is it really?
Yeah, well, it could have been worse. He could have been threatening to grab this 10-year-old girl by the pussy.
Yeah, that would have been mad. That would have been a step up. But yeah, it's weird. It is creepy. Like, it really is, because it's. I don't know why that would cross your mind. Like, I don't look.
We
I've never.
probably don't want to know why it's crossed his mind.
Well, no, I don't think I've ever looked at a 10-year-old and gone.
I'll be quite curious. I'll be quite curious to find out
Because-
if he's got Tor installed on his computer and if he uses the dark net.
Well, looking up cute kids. I don't know. I think that's fucking so bad.
Well, one of the things me and you agreed before we were. Oh, actually, no. Before I move on to the next thing, just one other thing. So the other day, it's been quite stressful at home because Becca's been at university working very hard and she's just finished her last exam. So Josh and Steph, being the lovely friends they are, offered to look after our two boys, and they took them out to the pier. And why don't you tell us a story about that other gentleman who could be classed as creepy?
So we were.
Was his name Joe? Firstly, was his name Joe?
I didn't. He didn't stop to give his name.
Yeah.
But so we were at Brighton Pier, and there's a big play area there, and the kids were playing. And then we went to change Jax's nappy. So we took him out the play area, took him around the side, like out the way, because the toilets were outside, so we didn't want to go outside. So we took him to the side to change his nappy. We literally in the middle of changing his nappy. Quite clearly, you can see that's what we were doing. And some bloke walks past us with a kid, like sort of going round the corner to the play area, leans his head into like our vicinity and goes, "Oh, what's happening here then?" Don't know the bloke, don't know why he said that. Just as we're changing a kid's nappy, he pops his head in and goes, "Oh, what's going on here?" Like, again,
and just to be clear for the camera, because Josh hasn't made this clear, he was not a Bobby on the beat.
No, he was just a random bloke on
Well,
Brighton Pier.
he certainly went to Bobby on a beat. I hope he went someone else on a beat as well, because the tone of his voice sounds like he enjoyed it.
Yeah, it was a weird. I've never had that before. Someone, because you can quite clearly see we're changing a nappy. It's not that hard to work out. But to pop your head into someone's vicinity and go, "Oh, what's happening here?" It's like, I think you can fucking see what's happening, mate.
So if any of you see a picture of my beautiful young boy with a "what the fuck are you doing" look on his face, having his nappy changed by some creepy bloke with a ponytail, i.e. Josh.
Yeah, that's I'm the vetted creepy bloke, but that's all right.
Yeah, you're my limit, but okay.
Yeah,
Berry picking robot.
that's ridiculous.
Yeah, and they
Fucking
call it
hell.
and like so the title of the well, it's not really a news story. It's just a video and a short brief about it. They called it Robocrop, and I mean,
I didn't see that.
yeah, Robocrop. So we're in a fastly evolving world. A lot's changing. You've got artificial intelligence. You've got robots, and I say this as someone who's quite open minded. I don't doubt that one day there are going to be robots roaming the street like in iRobot. A long way in the future, but that's a long way off, quite clearly, because this beautiful machine they've dubbed Robocrop, and they're talking about how it's using artificial intelligence to pick berries. And what I found funny is this article. It wasn't meant to be satirical. It wasn't a satirical article. It was. Did you read the article as well as?
Yeah. I read it. Yeah.
So you can see what I'm getting at. It wasn't trying to. It wasn't trying to be satirical.
No, it was like
That
it was
it was
almost like it was
basically
an innovation.
yeah. It's like, oh my god, well, there's a berry being there's robots who can pick berries, and it's talking about how there's worry on some sides of efficacy because this robot might be able to outstrip the rates humans can
I think
work.
it was something like a human picker on an 8 hour shift could pick 15,000 berries, and this can pick
Yeah.
20. Because also their video didn't match up either. Because they said in the video said in the article it said the human person can pick 15,000 berries in 8 hours, whereas the robot can do 25. And then in the video they were saying
Yeah, because
in the
I
video they said, oh, that's 15,000 more. It's like,
yeah
no, it's
I
fucking not.
I read that and I thought. Well, it tells you about the humans first, 15,000 now, and then it said and the robot can do 25. And I thought, fucking hell, 25,000? It's like, no, 25 berries. Because they show you,
It's so ridiculous.
they show you this robot. They show you it basically, and it tells you the process of what it's doing. It has to look at the berry, analyze it,
Because it's
and
meant to be for like AI for picking like ripe berries, isn't it? It's meant to be
yeah.
ripe. Yeah,
So
yeah.
they're not picking ones that haven't grown yet and wasting it and all that bollocks. But it is so painful. You see it and it's there and it's calculating. It's moving like half an inch at a time and it's going around the berry and it's like. I'm not joking. I say this with nothing but respect for the bloke, God rest his soul. But Stephen Hawking could have picked the berries fucking
Yeah.
faster, and he's probably closer looking to a robot than that thing. It
It
was
was mental. It was so slow. It was ridiculous. Like, and
it took
obviously, it's obviously like whether it's well, it's obviously a prototype, but it just like, do you really need to video that? Like, that doesn't show it in a good light, does it? Video it when
like
it's
I say,
picking like because what
yeah,
was that video? What, like a minute? Like, show us the video of it doing a minute, like a minute video of it picking like 10,000. You know what I mean?
yeah.
Just going mental. Not
That's
not
what I mean.
taking
I
a
don't.
minute to pick
That's what
one.
I'm trying to say. I'm not some traditionalist who thinks, oh no, the robots aren't the way forward. Everything's wrong with robots. There's no ethics because I quite happily. And do you know what?
But for
Sometimes
jobs like that, like fair enough.
yeah,
Like, it's a mundane
I,
job. Like, do you know what I mean?
I will genuinely. I'll look at a video of how fast some robots work in factories, for example, and I'll be in awe of it. I'll be like, wow, that really is like that's mad. That's crazy shit there. And then you look at this robot analyzing this berry and picking it, and it's like you're gonna have a serious problem with that berry not starting to biodegrade before it gets to the
I was gonna
supermarket.
say it'll get ripe, start to disintegrate and disintegrate by the time it's been fucking picked.
I was ripening quicker than that berry was getting picked by that robot.
Can you imagine being the worker there, right, and thinking, oh shit, like this, they're bringing in this robot like to take over your job, and you're thinking, oh bollocks, like I'm gonna be out of a job now,
Yeah.
like,
Imagine your
like,
boss is telling you about it, and you're sitting there all paranoid, and they're like, "Yeah, this is some scary stuff sort of right here," and they show you the video from the article.
and it's like, oh, this robot can pick
Yeah,
10,000 more berries than you can in the same time, and you're thinking, oh shit, like, and they wheel the little robot out and put it next to the thing, and you're watching that thinking, oh shit, this is the end of it. I'm gonna have to, I'm not gonna have a job now.
never mind how intimidated they're going to be by the name Robocrop.
Exactly. Well, exactly. And then all of a sudden they flick on the switch and you see that you see that happen, and you see it take a full minute to pick one fucking berry. Like, fucking ridiculous. Like I say,
Yeah.
obviously it's gonna get better, but don't show us the video now of it. Like that video doesn't show anything. it just
Yeah.
shows it's not ready.
Another story I felt is maybe one of the longer ones to talk about because there's a bit of a debate on both sides of this. But as not much, well, as expected. So Theresa May's now resigned. Well, she's announced her date, so there's going to be a race for the Tory leadership and therefore next prime minister. And one of the frontrunners of it is Esther McVie. Is it McVie? Yeah, Esther McVie. And did you see like read the article sort of about it?
Which one was this? Oh
Yeah.
I read. Yeah,
So I mean, there's been this ongoing debate about certain schools' parents pulling their kids out of class for teaching about equality and LGBT communities, and I've always been someone who's very liberally minded, but I think me and you are probably cut from the same cloth in this respect. We're liberally minded, but also maybe some traditional views as well. I mean, there's kind of a line, but I mean, I don't know. What did you think about it? Reading about it?
what? Well, like it's also it just shows the state of the fucking Tory party as well to start with because
Yeah.
they can't agree on literally nothing. They literally
Yeah.
can't agree on anything. But like to me, this whole thing about this, like there's nothing wrong with any of that stuff. Like the kids should know about everything. Like I don't necessarily even just think it's down to something like that. Like kids don't get taught enough about the real world anyway. All kids get taught is how to pass exams or whatever. Like,
Yeah.
but like,
Well, I mean,
the,
I think a good quote that sums up what you're trying to say is she was quoted by a fellow MP. I haven't got her first name, but surname Greening, and she kind of quoted on the story and said, "Children should understand the modern and diverse Britain they're growing up in. Matters for social security, for social mobility too. You can't be your best if you can't be yourself."
which is 100% right. Like, and everyone needs to understand. Everyone needs to understand that. But
Yeah.
also, like, some of these kids, like, it's primary schools, isn't it? It's primary
Yeah.
school. Like, do you need to learn that sort of stuff at primary school? Like, this is my thing. Like, should kids learn about that sort of thing? Yes, I think they should but also they will learn that through life experience.
I mean,
Like,
just to stress me, Josh live in Brighton, which has been dubbed
yeah,
sort of never mind the gay capital of England, but one of the most gay-friendly cities in the world.
yeah,
Uh,
and
could have been more liberally minded, but
it's just I don't know. It's a very broad subject, isn't it? And it's a very
yeah,
you can sort of see. I can sort of see both sides of it because I can see what people are saying. Because in that article, a lot of it is, it's for the parents. At the end of the day, it's the
yeah.
parents' final call.
Well, I think that's really where she shot herself in the foot when she said, "quote Parents know best." Because if parents know best, then if let's just obviously this isn't true, but let's just say I was going around with the views that all Muslims are evil and we shouldn't be sharing a country, never mind houses and schools with them, and they should all be deported from the country.
Yeah,
Quite
it,
clearly, I don't. Would it?
but
Do I know best if I think I'm teaching my kid that? Now, that's where
exactly.
you that's where you get the argument because from
Well,
if I was that person from my subjective view, yeah, I know best. But looking at the country as a whole, quite clearly I don't because I'm a
but
stupid cunt
so,
like ranting about racism.
so the way I would look at it, right, is say it was a different like my problem is like I don't remember at school like you learn about the human body, you learn about that, you learn about how it works and
Yeah,
everything like that, and you learn about the reproductive process and the reproductive
yeah.
system.
You've done really well with that at school, didn't you? You, especially watching the videos, you found them quite.
Oh, mate, don't get me wrong. So like I remember at primary school, I remember watching the video of a baby being born, and that was one of the worst days of my life.
Yeah.
That was awful. I then watched. So I have this weird thing with how do you say it? I have this weird thing with menstrual. I don't know what it is because it's not because I can talk about periods and stuff, but it's hearing certain things. My brain just doesn't like it.
I know a word you don't like.
Yeah, I know a word. Yeah, that's because it's a weird word. That's something that Joe Biden would say. That word.
Yeah.
The word he's referring to is mini, by the way, just so people understand. When you refer to a woman's special garden as a mini. I find that really weird.
Special garden.
I don't know. I don't want to be offensive to anyone. Some people might not have gardens, I don't know. Some people live in flats. But anyway, that's the word you're referring to. But yeah, so I can talk about periods and stuff. It's just weird. Like sometimes my body just sort of shuts off, doesn't want to hear it, and then I'll feel like I want to be sick. So that's always helpful to be a nearly 27-year-old person that gets like that about certain things.
So if you're talking to Josh and you use the word mini, his face is going to go white. Period.
No, yeah. But I don't ever remember learning about, because a lot of the argument's been about like LGBT. What is it? Because I get confused because there's so much stuff that goes around. Like, is it about LG? Is it about relationships, or is it about the problems that they face, or is it both?
I think what the lessons are based more around is it's not so much. They're not. It's not like So what you're saying is, if, for example, you could be learning about LGBT in history and about how it's been illegal.
Well,
is that what you're saying?
What at the moment, the people that are protesting, are they protesting the fact that they're explaining same-sex relationships to kids, or is it the fact that they're teaching kids about LGBT like problems that they faced? I'm a bit unsure as to what the actual problem is.
So from the best I can understand of it, what it sounds like is what these parents and, well, they're not even all parents, a lot of them are just protesters, but what they're complaining about is that these kids are being taught this stuff, and I guess normalising it is
Right.
They think they're teaching it to them at too young of an age, and they don't need to be learning about this, which is some part of a valid. There's some valid argument there. Maybe they could be too young, but then again, you've got to remember that the parents protesting this don't all come from one group.
Yeah.
Some of them Some of them might be standing there with the mindset that me and you have got, which is, I don't think I could be much more liberally minded. Nothing abnormal about it at all. I've got and have had friends of different sexualities in the past, and I will have in the future. I live in a very diverse country and city, but they might also think, yeah, maybe it's a bit too young. It's almost like
I think at that age, I think primary school, like, I don't think you need to learn. I think you should know how. I think you should know about your body, and I think you should know how. Like towards the end of maybe your primary school, yeah. So when you finish primary school, you're like 11.
Yeah. So that. Like, yeah, I'll get what you mean. Like when you're 11, they need to start explaining to you
explaining things.
Start explaining what your willy and your mini are for.
Shut up, he's such a dickhead. But no, yeah. So you should start learning, about that sort of stuff. You should, because you should know, because also you're going to get to that age then when you start secondary school where that you go through puberty and your body is going to change and all that stuff. So I think it's a good idea that you learn about that stuff. But when you're younger than that, I don't think you need to learn about anything, like whether it be straight, whether it be gay, whether it be like, you got to let kids be kids. Like when I was that age, I don't think I could have given a shit what you'd have told me about that sort of stuff. Whether you'd told me about straight people, gay people, trans people, bisexual people, any orientation, I don't think I could have given a shit. Like I just run around the playground being like a dinosaur or something. I don't think I could have given a fuck.
I'd agree with you there, and you probably agree with me in return as well. Like, and just to be clear, I'm not saying that children who are in primary school shouldn't be aware of what gay and bisexual are and all this stuff. I'm just saying I don't think it's something they need to be taught about, because one of my boys here, Logan, for example, me and him, it's quite a funny story actually. Becca was out, I was here at home with him, we're having dinner, me and him at the table together, and this is before Jax was born, so it's just me and him in the house, which made me particularly uncomfortable, as you'll now find out, because he asked me what it meant to be gay, and that's not what made me uncomfortable. I said, well, being gay is just when two people love each other, Logan, but they both happen to be men. Or some people use the word gay for women, or some people say lesbian instead. But it's when two people of the same sex love each other, the same way that me and your mum love each other. And I said, he looked a bit confused, and I went, well, I said, obviously, I love you, Logan. So it's not the way that like a man would love his little boy, or a woman love her daughter. It's like the same way me and your mum love each other. And then he looks at me with a sort of funny face, and he goes, oh, okay. So me and you aren't gay then? And I almost Do you know what? I almost wrong child line there and then just to protect myself from prosecution because I can imagine him running around school having misconstrued the whole conversation, telling his teacher that me and my stepdad are gay together. And I'd have been like, oh, fuck.
But that's like
I've got no. He knows about that, but I don't think it's something to be stressed.
I don't think at that age, I don't think, like I say, I think when you get past that age, when you start secondary school, I think that's when it's because that's when you're out in the world a bit more and you start to learn more things because you're around older people, especially if you think when you start secondary school, you're what 11, and the oldest people are what 16, so you're around a lot of older kids just in general. So you overhear things, you hear things, you know what this school's like, you hear things, rumours and all this stuff.
And we all know the sort of stuff we got up to in the toilets at school. Well,
Exactly. But
yeah, like we said, we're trying to talk about the same thing too much. So I mean, we'll just sum this one up now. But I think what she'd done wrong was the statement she made. She started it off gay, saying parents know best, but she missed out the bit she should have put on the end, which was in brackets, unless they're a cunt.
yeah, well, yeah.
Because
like I say, the way you would look at it is you wouldn't say that about if people were outside protesting about, oh, why are you teaching kids about Black history? Like it's the same sort of thing. You wouldn't protest about it because you should know about different cultures and different people. But I think at that age, I don't think you need to learn. I think you can wait a bit. I think you need to let kids be kids, and I think it's
if you got questions like Logan did, ask them and you'll get straight answers. But
yeah,
case in point would be the fact that I don't remember being taught any of that sort of stuff at primary school, and I've grown up to still be a very accepting person.
Yeah, exactly. It comes with age, and that's, I mean, when you're around in secondary school, you're around a lot of older kids, so you will learn different things, you'll hear different things, and I think you need to let kids be kids at the end of the day. I don't think, it should be something that you need to worry about.
Yeah, without being too traditional and saying the whole thing's wrong because being gay is not normal.
Yeah, I mean, like some people go to the extreme, don't they, of say, of being just mental, and so you can tell some people are just being it because they're homophobic or they don't like gay people, and that's ridiculous.
Yeah, they'll go blaming these teachers saying, "No, you're the reason that some men like taking it up the shitter," and it's like, no, that's because they're gay.
Yeah, exactly.
Did you watch the video with Nigel Farage in it?
Yeah, I saw that one.
So this was actually before the European elections, and I'm someone with respect for democracy. There's clearly a problem in the country surrounding Brexit. Otherwise, we'd be out of the EU now, and the government would have resolved the result of the referendum, which they haven't. And I respect democracy, so his Brexit party, through whatever means they've done it, they won the European elections fair and square. But this was a Channel 4 reporter following him around before the election campaign, basically asking him questions, saying, "Well, you've claimed to be a fighter for like the sort of the average guy, and you claim yourself to be the average Tom, Dick, and Harry, and you'll be down the pub with your pint and your cigar, sort of thing. You know the sort of image he spouts."
Yeah.
But he was also quoted as in the same year, 2017, saying that he's skint and there's no money in politics. And he's saying the report was saying to him, "Okay, so were you forgetting about the money provided by Aaron Banks to give you a £13,000 a month flat in Chelsea and to do a load of travelling and to pay for your bodyguards?" And I need to call him Donald Trump then. Farage is what he's basically doing in this video is he's just fobbing the questions off as if they're relevant, saying, "Oh, you should be asking me about the election." It's like, well, this stuff's kind of relevant, and he's making a joke about the whole thing because the report. I mean, at one point the reporter says, "How much did it cost?" Were we talking about $500,000 here? And he's like, "Oh, no, at least 4 times that."
Yeah.
And then
at the end he says about who paid for your bodyguards and this and he goes, "The Russians."
Yeah.
It's like, mate, shut the fuck up. Like, that's typical. Like, I mean, look, we talked about a lot about politics last week. Like, I made my feelings very clear. Like, that's typical politicians, though, isn't it? Like, we'll dodge the questions because the guy makes a good point. He's like, "But you're running for a seat. Like, it's all about transparency," and he's like, just completely ignores it. It's classic politicians.
Yeah.
Like, it's embarrassing. Like, when you watch that, it's embarrassing because he just doesn't care. He doesn't give a shit. He really couldn't care less about what he's being asked. And he's got no intention of ever answering those questions. Do you know what I mean? Like, I don't know. It just fucking winds me up. It really pisses me. That sort of video just winds me up. Like, because I just think that's a person who has gained a position of power through, like you say, whatever means, Like that's just mental that a bloke like that can be in power. It's scary.
It draws quite scary parallels to, because you say in power, technically he's in a position of power because he's head of a party that suddenly got big within the last sort of 6 weeks, and he's also a member of European Parliament, so of course he has some power. But what scares me is that you can draw up parallels between his demeanour and someone like Donald Trump, who definitely is in a position of power.
Mm.
It's that whole anything you don't agree with, you can fob off as fake news and not true. Even if it is true, you can still say it's fake news. And some of the stupid, just to be clear, I'm not saying anyone who's got any views in line with the Brexit party is an idiot. That's not what I'm saying at all. Because I know I've got relatives who voted for the Brexit party, and they have valid reasons to.
I know people that voted to like leave the EU and all that sort of stuff. So.
Yeah. I would not for a second say that anyone who voted leave EU or anyone that voted for the Brexit party is a complete idiot. There's plenty of people who aren't idiots and they've got genuine concerns. But when you've got someone like this who just gets in the position they're in by spouting off anything they don't disagree with as fake news, and it's all part of the establishment trying to get back at him. But he's also, as far back as 2017, basically sitting there sucking the establishment's cock. But at the same time, he's claiming to be broke and there's no money in politics, and he's just an average guy down the boozer. Like, no,
you can't have it both ways.
Yeah,
like, do you know what I mean? It's absolutely, and like I said, it's laughable. Like, you know, and the fact that some people, like you say, if you whatever way you voted, like that's your decision. People have their own reasons, and you know. But to me, I see someone like that, and he gains a following, and you look at someone like that, and you just think.
He's a fascist. He tries to turn it on the reporter by saying, "Oh, you're not going to ask me about the upcoming election."
Yeah, but it's like, but that reporter's entitled to ask you questions about anything, and if you're a member of parliament or you're involved in any political party, to me, you should have to answer those questions. It's like he says, it's all about transparency.
Yeah,
and they don't want to say it because they're all fucking dodgy.
That's that reporter. Because I mean, I'm someone I'm going to study journalism in September. I got in and I'm all ready to go in September. So I don't know if this is the right line of work for me, because if I was to be doing that sort of investigative journalism, following him around, I would not have had the patience that journalist had.
No.
Because I mean, the last question I would have asked him, to probably throw him off centre bit, would have gone. I would have probably said to him strawberry or chocolate, and when he went what, I'd just smashed a milkshake in his face.
It's just, I don't know. Like, I just when I see that sort of video, it just makes my skin crawl. Like, 'cause I just think these are people that are in charge of the country, and these people that are meant to have. Because at the end of the day, a politician or someone in politics is whether you're, you know, a local MP or you're in, you know, in the Houses of Parliament, you're in the cabinet, you're in whatever sort of facet of government, you're meant to have people's best interests at heart. And I see these people, and I just think that couldn't be more further from the truth. Like, that's a million miles away. All they care about is their own agendas. That's all they give a shit about. And it's scary to see. It's mental. And also, I think he's just a knobhead. Like, whenever he talks, I just want to say, shut the fuck up, mate. Like, you come across like a pompous twat.
I can see what you're saying about when he talks. He's got that voice, but you know, it's not even the voice that vexes me. It's that big fucking smile when he tries to look like Ronald.
Yeah.
Oh my god, that big, and you can see the pictures of him, like of his whole face elongated.
Yeah.
Oh, you just want to. Oh, I'm not a violent man, but I am when I see that.
Oh, he's an absolute twat. Like, he just, it just annoys me. I don't know. Like I say, when I see that sort of video, it really just winds me up, and it's quite scary, really.
Yeah. I mean, one more thing to talk about quickly, then we'll round it up because we'll be all done. We shouldn't be talking about it too long. And this is a bit of a kick in the teeth to me. Bearing in mind that I'm going to be, as I said, I'll be going to university for the second time in September. Hopefully, I won't start having seizures and flunk out like I did last time, blaming the epilepsy. But so this is Theresa May, who's just announced her resignation. She's now basically in a position to see through the Trump visit, and it'll get summed up at the start of June. That's when she's going to be announcing her official resignation. So she's not in any position to be implementing policies now.
No.
She's basically just a placeholder. And this is when she decides to make a statement saying that there's research suggesting that the government should lower tuition fees and reinstate maintenance grants. And for anyone who's, without being sounding condescending, the difference between a grant and a loan is you don't pay it back.
Yeah.
And it was David Cameron's government that cut what were maintenance grants, so you didn't have to pay it back, and that was for poorer students. She's now suggesting that the grant should be reinstated and the fees should be cut back. And how much of a slap in the face is that when you're at the end of your premiership? It's like you've been 3 years now. You've been scratching your ass and not been able to sort Brexit out, and then it's after that you talk about another big issue in the country, which is student debts.
Yeah.
And not the best time to mention it. You could have just kept your mouth shut and gone out quietly.
Yeah. That's what I mean. They've got no idea what they're doing. It's ridiculous. Like, there's literally no reason for her to say that, is there, really?
Well, she then has to, towards the end of the video, start slagging off Jeremy Corbyn's policy that is in his last manifesto, and this may not be the same in the most current one, I don't know, but was suggesting scrapping tuition fees altogether, which she then claims to be impossible. That's not something you can do. It's too expensive, and there's plenty of countries that have done that, including Scotland. But it had to be turned into a shit throwing contest and start saying about Jeremy Corbyn.
It always is, though, isn't it? Always is. Always is. That's always what it boils down to. It boils down to playground tactics of just slinging shit at each other, like you say.
But I know, obviously, me and you have got a pretty big fan base. So if you're one of the Tory contenders and you're listening to this right now, if you are going to pay any attention to this suggestion of a policy, please do it before this September.
just to help you out.
Yeah. Anyway, that's probably a good place to round it up, isn't it?
Probably.
So, yeah, I guess we'll speak to you all next week again.